True. Karthik, very rightly on that point when you said about the awareness aspect of things, right? Like, definitely, yes, people have started to understand. People go and have conversations with their parents, saying that, okay, maybe how do I start investing? Or, what are the different types? Because they have their parents or someone in their family has definitely done it. Now, but that is one segment of things. But everything today is on the internet. Everything is today either on Instagram, on Facebook, or on YouTube, right? All information is provided over there, or the basic Google, where you can go and search for it. But do you think, even with these influencers, even with all the other companies who come in and try to put in the knowledge out there so that people do not have half-baked information, but maybe have a full, how to say, understanding about things, have they been able to effectively communicate with the millennials and the Gen Zs about the financial products and service expansions?
No, I think that's a valid point. See, I don't think they've fully communicated what it is. See, social media will always remain one person broadcasting to a million. And of those million, obviously some are a little more evolved and absorb what's being said. Some may not get it. And, the experts might feel that this is really dumbed down too much. Right? I mean, you can't really communicate with a million people at different wavelengths,
Correct.
which is where see at the end of the day, personal finance will remain where somebody needs to either and do everything. It's communicate and implement that is specific for you. Right? And I can release. It's like a newspaper ad. I can put an ad out, and I hope my target audience sees it. But
Sees
you
it.
will also have somebody who's not your target audience read that ad, and somebody who never even knew about you suddenly says, "Oh, this sounds interesting. Maybe we should Google him a bit more." So I think that's what a lot of this is doing today. It's raising the awareness to broadly a level. But see, deep down, every individual has to have kind of two things clear: who are we listening, who are we following, right, and what are we doing basis those messages.
Correct.
And again, and I come in from a point of view is that every single product that's been created in the finance space on its own makes sense, right? I mean, there will be one individual somewhere in the world who goes to his banker and says, can you structure a product for me which will ensure that I will make at least 4% upside and protect my downside to 2%. You and
Correct.
I don't probably need that. You might say, okay, fine, if my market goes up and I make 15%, great. If I lose 20%, it's temporary, it will catch up. But I'm saying what happens in all of this is when you communicate and when you try and be very definitive, saying, hey, listen, Karthik, you're 26 years old, you need 4 crores of insurance. That's not the answer, right? I mean, but then we are in a media world where, the more definitive you are, the more I kind of make it clear that this is the right answer, people start feeling, I think it's a bit like experts are happy to go on TV and say, maybe I don't know. But, people don't accept it, right? They want an expert to say, can you exactly predict Friday
Correct.
evening 30, where will the Nifty be? And if I
Correct.
say I don't know, I'm not invited next time onto the channel. But if I make a
Correct.
number up and say 18,432 and 6, oh, this sounds very intelligent and we must, listen. So I think that's where social media has a role. It obviously improves a basic level of understanding, but whoever's consuming needs to do their own homework and understand, is that really applicable to me? Or, as I keep saying, get something then personalized for yourself.
Correct.
Reach out to the right set of people and try and understand what makes sense for yourself.
True. And very rightly you said that, because what I've seen, in the market, wearing the social media handle of an Instagram influencer is like, people want to give the information, but a lot of this information, when it is consumed, when then either when they are thinking about it or when they are passing it over, it's like the Chinese whisperer.
Yeah.
You take in something, then you're thinking something completely different from what is being said, and when you pass that particular information, it's completely different altogether. So very rightly put by you that we can always structure and give out information or knowledge in a certain way, but it is definitely about their own risk appetite and where do they stand in terms of their investing or their personal finance to take that particular step moving forward at whatever age they feel confident enough. So
Correct.
moving on, because you spoke about, at the very start we spoke about the industry being so fast paced in terms of people wanting things so fast. So how has technology and innovation impacted customer expectations in the finance and investment space? So has the fact that because there are so many options available, has that impacted things to a certain degree?
No, definitely. See, I think technology is a great enabler, and I think combined with COVID, where there's been a marked change to the online world, right? I think you'd agree a conversation like this would not have been possible 5 years back. You would have had to assemble 20, 30 people in a room and chat, and the next day some of this gets carried in the newspaper or whatever. So technology has definitely enabled in terms of both customer acquisition, in terms of making people aware. But there are also some downsides to it where now, as I said, people want things faster. And especially in investing, faster is not always better.
Correct.
So yeah, onboarding a customer. So if I want to invest today, in the next half an hour, I can be onboarded. That's a great sign. I didn't have to go to a branch and then find out, the joke that the branch is closed, come back tomorrow, yeah, it's lunchtime or any of that. So that's definitely a plus. But in terms of you're buying a mutual fund or you're buying a particular product, and as you gave the example of Zepto, today the expectation is, why is it not done in 30 seconds? Which sometimes people feel no, it should have. And I think good customer service or good players in the industry will accelerate some of these pain points, but they also and build certain deterrence to this kind of behavior. Today, if you take certain fund houses, if you go to sell a scheme, they put up small pop-up there saying, "Are you sure you want to sell this? Have you met your goals? Is this really the right time?" They're just trying to prompt you to think about why you're selling it. Right? You're not just selling it because you bought it last week and you're selling it this week. I mean, one of the largest stockbrokers, if you see, they call these nudges. You're going to buy something, they nudge you saying, "Are you sure you want to buy this stock? It's a loss-making company. It's a really bad idea according to me."
Correct.
But yeah, I'm not here to judge, but that "are you sure" is using technology, right? I mean, a million customers don't have a father figure standing at the back saying, "Are you sure you're doing this?" So you use technology to nudge people along that way. So I think those are things where technology has really helped try and do some of the right behavior. But I think given the environment that we operate in, where everything needs to be fast-paced, there will always be challenges where people feel, why is it not happening overnight, or and especially if you look back at history where certain things used to happen, in 10, 12 days, we've definitely compressed. And, in India, if you look at the regulatory system, it's strengthened even more, right? Today, a mutual fund, you can literally, if you redeem it before 3 o'clock, you can get it next day in certain schemes, or T+2 in certain schemes. So definitely, and I think technology, and I'm talking more as a non-tech player, I'm sure, the back end, there's a lot more that has gone in terms of ensuring a million people can, transact at the same time. And the trader guys would really love that, milliseconds are being shaved of every transaction. So, each segment really has benefited a lot from, this growth in technology.
True. And, I feel I'm going to give you two examples, of my own, because back then when I was using, let's say in 2016, when I had ICICI as one of my account holders, and when I had to add a pay, it used to take 24 hours for it to get approved. Now it happens in 30 minutes, right? Now, and if it doesn't happen now in 30 minutes, I'm like, okay, this is not the right bank for me. That is one, good thing that has happened. But the second thing that you spoke about, how the mutual fund has also, the schemes have also, differentiated. Some of the schemes you have the instant redemption thing. So whenever you want to redeem it, that day itself or the next day itself, it reflects back. I think these are very strong points that the market has put out for people to start investing more and more. And usually people think as customer experience as only maybe going on the app and maybe okay in 4 steps to complete KYC, but they don't see that the money also coming in, let's say in 1 day's time, is also part of your experience, because you don't have to wait for let's say 2 or 3 days, or maybe back before how it was 7 days to get the money back into your account. I think these are very important points that the Gen Zs basically have to understand, that these
And
are
I'll
also.
just add one aspect on this is important, especially for some of the younger audience to understand. Is some of this is the regulators thinking and really trying to protect you. See your example of 30 minutes to add a payee. That is at least gives you a chance to check your message and see if somebody is hacked into it. You get a chance to take
Correct.
some step, right? I mean, and a lot of times these steps are really to protect the mass audience. And again, certain evolved customers will always feel, hey, why is it taking 30 minutes? I know what I'm doing. I definitely know I want to remit 1 lakh right now. Who are you to question the 1 lakh? But the regulator and the banks go in with like, okay, maybe these two people know what they're doing, but somebody
Hmm.
who's savvy enough may end up actually transferring more than what they intended to do.
Correct.
And I like
Correct.
that really small thing on UPI. If you use at least on Google Pay, it does pop up, right? Are you sure you want to transact?
Sure.
Because you've always been
Correct.
sending 100 rupees, 36 rupees, and 40 rupees. Suddenly, you're doing a 50,000 rupee transaction. Now, I can take it negatively, saying Google just process it, or that's a neat little tech layer being built in.
Correct.
So I think a lot of it has to be seen like there is a positive intent. It's not,
Hmm.
especially at least on financial services, the regulator demands certain things, and not a bunch of technical people sitting on the app side saying how can we make life miserable and delay this.
Yeah.